What's going on, guys? What is going on? Just gonna give it a few more minutes, guys, and we'll go ahead and get started. Oh, and it looks like we're getting that Pelicans news right now. So that's cool. We'll be able to know what the Pelicans are looking like here in just a second. All right, I tweeted all the links here. Thank you. Look, TJ's right in here. TJ is in the chat, already dropping some knowledge. All right, I'm going to go ahead and look at your text, even though it's the exact same thing. Okay, cool. Thanks for the insight, TJ. What's going on, guys? What's going on? Gonna go ahead and give it just a few more minutes. By the way, this is not a paid advertisement, but today is powered by Red Bull because this slate is stressful, so tonight should be fun. A 16 ounce too. I don't usually go that hard. I'm not going to be taking 3 water bottles to the stream today. I'm just taking one 16 ounce Red Bull. That should get me powered up. Let's go ahead and get started. So thank you so much for coming in, guys. Thanks for showing up. For my patrons who have been signing up today, for all the people who have been purchasing lineups, guys, thank you so much. Thank you for supporting the stream. Obviously could not do this without you guys. Everything that you guys put into this, I can't thank you. I can't thank you enough. Seriously though, just all the viewers that we've been getting lately. We're at we're at 730 subscribers now. So thank you so much for your support. And honestly, guys, if you haven't already, please hit that subscribe button. If you guys are new to the stream, please ask any questions in the live chat. Please ask any questions you have about the slate. I will get to them. And of course, guys, I'll be covering the entire slate up through lock. We have a lot of pending injury news, a lot of pending rotation news from the Spurs, most importantly, because we're going to try to dissect Pop here on the stream. And with all that being said, guys, let's go ahead and dive right into the slate. All right? So thanks for tuning in. Thanks for tuning in. Let me know if my mic is good, too. Also, guys, please help me out with the updates. Please, 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 because I'm not going to be looking at my phone. So last time I checked the Pelicans were pending statuses from Brandon Ingram, right? I think Zion Williamson just got ruled in here. Let me just double check before I start. Zion is playing. Yes, he's probably going to play. That's what that means. So let's go ahead. Let's do this. I want to wait on San Antonio because I'm going to save that for the later part of the stream. Hopefully we get some news before the stream starts on the rotations. Let's go. Let's go to Chicago and Washington because that's a great game to start with. So if we look at Chicago here, Chicago has a lot of people out. A lot of probable news, a lot of questionable news. So just to keep you guys aware here, Dunn, Markkanen, Porter, Carter are out. And Valentine is doubtful, okay? The rest of the guys are probable. I don't even know why they're on the injury list. It makes no sense. Absolutely no sense. They don't know how to use their injury reports, it looks like. Chicago always looks like this. For some reason, they just give me a heart attack every single time I look at their injury report. But after the dust has settled here, we take the injuries off the court. I promise you guys I did that. Hutchinson stands out the most again. Last time I took him, he didn't burn me. He was right around value, just under. But he was my sneaky GPP play last slate. 4.6, 30 minutes against Washington. This is a pace-up spot for Chicago. If Hutchinson's coming in at 8% ownership, I really like him for GPPs. I like pretty much this whole Chicago team for GPPs, but most importantly, I do like Hutchinson at 30 minutes. Thaddeus Young. Okay. Yeah. Also, guys, hey, let me know if Ingram's playing, because that's the news that we're waiting for. That will obviously shake things up a lot. They're in a high-paced game, high over-under game. So please, please, please let me know. Valentine's out. Okay. Thanks for the update. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So yeah, Hutchinson's a great value play tonight. 30 minutes, 4.6. If you guys can fit him in there. Again, 8% ownership is going to be more of a GPP option. You can fit him into your cash plays, but there's going to be better cash options as far as ownership tonight. Thaddeus Young, also not bad. 5.9, 5.3 here. I don't mind him. He's in a not as good of a matchup here against Washington because they do good against versatile forwards. Satoransky, also a good play here, 4.9. That's very, very intriguing. Very good matchup here. Averages 0.88 fantasy points per minute with the current injuries. Thank you for confirming that. Thank you so much. So yeah. Corey, thank you for the subscription. Really appreciate that. Yeah, so Cornette also is going to be a decent play, 5.4. The ownership is going to go to Zach LaVine, obviously being the highest usage guy on the team. 8.2 is pretty underpriced. However, on our sheet, he doesn't really bode that well. He bodes below that 46.53 fantasy point output. I get that it's a pace-up game, but there's going to be a lot of options tonight for shooting guard, okay? If you're going to fade somebody, I'm not saying fade LaVine in a single entry, but if you're playing GPPs, you might want to match the field, maybe go underweight on somebody like LaVine, because LaVine really has not been shooting that well this season. I get it. He's very volatile. This might be a game where he will struggle. I'm not saying he will. I'm saying this might be a smart fade. 51, 33, 41, 38, 39, 37, all over the place, right? It's a great pace-up spot, but if these other Bulls outperform, Zach LaVine could end up being a bad chalk. Okay? Bad chalk. Could. Not saying he will. And cash, though, lock him in. Okay? He's going to be a safe bet. He's going to carry a lot of ownership. Okay? There's just a lot of options at the shooting guard position. We'll get to those in just a second. All right, so favorite plays from Chicago. Let's look at Hutchinson, Young, Satoransky. Great options. Just great options. They're mid-tier, bottom of the barrel price tags. 4.6, great value play. So LaVine is going to be the chalkiest guy from the team, 35% by far. Thaddeus Young's going to be, Satoransky's going to be next, then Young. I do like Hutchinson for GPP. All right, I'm not saying he's a fade for tonight. I'm just saying you might want to be cautious in GPPs. If you're playing single entry, I wouldn't recommend fading him. Although if you get a little crazy, just saying. If we get news about the Spurs a little bit later, I'll tell you a good pivot for LaVine. Okay. Let's go right over to Washington. So Washington, Bertans is easily my favorite play on this team. Okay, 5.4. He's been outperforming his price tag for quite some time here. Last game, I believe he did pretty well. He had 27, 37, 37, 29. Those are all exceeding his price tag. Every single time. He's in a good matchup again versus Chicago. He usually plays around the perimeter, but again, there's some rebounding opportunities here. As we know, Chicago bigs are fairly, very, very bad. Right? Hold on. Again, powered by Red Bull, not an advertisement. I do love Red Bull, though. This is what happens when you leave me hanging, TJ. I need a Red Bull. All right. So Bertans. Bertans is going to be my favorite play. He's also going to be the most chalky on this team. I don't mind Bertans in cash and GPP. Okay. He's going to be a fairly good play. Troy Brown is still at 26 minutes here. He's been fluctuating in his minutes. Kind of taking away from his rotation. He still averages close to a fantasy point per minute here. 26 minutes, a 5.9 on their sheet. Could go overlooked here. Troy Brown's one of those guys, if he gets hot, he gets really hot. So again, at 3% ownership, I don't mind him as GPP. Just GPP though. Okay. Ish Smith, if he's in the starting rotation again, I don't mind him. Bradley Beal's going to be the guy we're all talking about here. 9.5, if you're going to pay up for him, I don't mind him. However, more of a GPP option, he's going to carry low ownership, okay? 9.5 price tags, been bouncing around in that 50 to 40 range, so should cover his price tag if he has a good night. I don't mind him either, but my favorite play from this team is going to be Bertans, just because of the matchup and the price tag. All right, he averages 1.01 fantasy points per minute. All right, so get that first game out of the way. Again, just to recap here, Chicago, I like Hutchinson, one of my favorite GPP options on the entire slate. I like Young, Satoransky, LaVine for cash. Okay, LaVine's going to be your cash lock tonight. He's going to carry a lot of ownership, has a lot of upside, but again, there's a lot of shooting guard positions, so somebody could outperform him value-wise. So GPP options, again, if you're playing a lot of GPPs, might be an easy pivot off of him. Okay. There's a lot of high over-unders on the slate too. If this is your first time to the stream, thank you so much for showing your support. Please hit that subscribe button. Please hit that like button. Please hit that notification bell to be first to the live streams. And of course, to get my early morning looks at the videos here. Mo Wagner. Yeah, let's talk about him real quick. 22 minutes. There's more of a rotation back now. So that 22 minutes does scare me. Play 24. He's going to play between 22, 24 minutes. Again, this is going to be a slight pace down spot for Washington. I'm not as high on Wagner. 22 minutes. I'm going to be taking somebody with 32 minutes, 10 more minutes, and a very good matchup. Somebody for like Bertans. I'm willing to pay that $1,100 to pay up for somebody like that. Hachimura, 28 minutes. Again, not as high on him as I am Bertans. However, he has been performing fairly well. Again, it's like one of those players where he has to get hot really quick. His usage has been picking up, but again, everybody's back on this rotation, including Napier, so it should take away from his usage. Hachimura isn't a high usage guy, so I still like Bertans a lot better. If you want to take a stab at these guys in GPPs, I'm not gonna hate you for it. But again, like Wagner, 1%, Hachimura, 1%. The public doesn't really agree on that, okay? And I can agree with you. I think there's better plays on the slate right now. Wagner, you were right. It's Wagner. Mo Wagner. Sorry. Yeah, I like Bertans. Even Troy Brown's a more productive of a player fantasy point per minute wise. I mean, at a 4.3 price tag, which is cheaper than both those guys, he's still right at value. And again, he has upside. So 26 minutes he's playing more minutes than Wagner, and he's playing about the same Hachimura. All right, I know for you Wagner and you Hachimura fans out there, I'm sorry to crush your dreams. I just like some of the plays better. That's all. All right, let's move over to Portland. Portland's a great team to look at here. The minutes are updated here on Roto. Let's see. Did they have the starting lineup for Washington? I'm gonna update here. Because if he is getting starter minutes, I do like him more. Wagner's not getting starter minutes. Yeah, Hachimura is getting 28 minutes. He's in the starting rotation. I like that, but you know, he has to play beside Bradley Beal, and you know, Bradley Beal is a high usage guy. I mean, if you guys want to take him in GPPs, feel free, but I don't like him for cash at all. I don't like him for cash at all. But again, let's talk about this Portland team here. All right, again, powered by Red Bull. All right, so let me go on this rant. You guys heard it in Discord. You guys that were in Discord, you already heard my rant. Trevor Ariza, 42.5 fantasy points. I called him last time he did this. His price tag went from 4.1 to 3.6, okay? Because he got thrown out of the game. Literally why. He averages 0.83 fantasy points per minute in a prime matchup, the best matchup for wing players, okay, in the Pelicans. It's a pace-up spot for Portland. He should get plenty of shots. I love Ariza as a GPP option today. Okay, his percentage ownership went up slightly, and that's because everybody knows they are really stupid at looking at Ariza and not wanting to play him. That's why. Okay? Ariza is a great play tonight for GPPs. Okay, I don't even mind him as a cash play, but for GPPs, I'm telling you right now, this guy has a ton of upside. He'll do what he did last game because, like I said, last game without Butler against that Miami defense, he went off, okay? If you look at these other games, like I said, I made this point with Portland before. They played Utah, Denver, Utah. The price tags were just going down for Portland in general just because of the prime matchups. And now that they're starting to play some pace-up teams here, they should be scoring more points. Damian Lillard should get back in the rhythm. All these guys should get back in the rhythm, okay? All these guys are still undervalued a lot. McCollum is another good play. He averages 1 fantasy point per minute, comes out to 37 fantasy point projection, 5.8 on our sheet. Carmelo Anthony, not a bad play, 5.8. Damian Lillard averages 5 fantasy points per minute, 5.6 on our sheet here. All right, and even Whiteside, obviously, without Bryant down low, is another good play, 8.1. All of these guys are viable options in GPPs, okay? 119 is applied over-under here. I do like Portland for GPPs a lot. I probably am going to end up liking them more than I should. but I think Ariza's in a great spot. If you're talking about one of the cheaper guys on the team here, averaging 0.83 fantasy points per minute against good teams too. I mean, he has a small sample size, but it's against good teams. 6.3 on our sheet. I think this guy is heavily undervalued here. So if you look here, this is Rother's projection. Right now, I have him at 27.2. They have him 4 fantasy points less. Okay, that's how much they undervalued this guy. I really like Ariza tonight. Really, really do. All right, let's move down the line here. So the Pelicans. The Pelicans are... We're still pinning that Brandon Ingram status here. Yes. I didn't mention Gary Trent here. So Gary Trent's sitting there at 26 minutes. Again, 26 minutes usually scares me. I don't like anybody in that price range for 26 minutes. Usually that's why I don't like Hachimura. But 26 minutes for Gary Trent is just a little scary. Again, they perform well against shooting wings. But yes, with him being back, obviously eats into Gary Trent. Is playing Dame with McCollum advisable? That's tough. I mean, they'd have to score very high over-under. If I'm going to take 2 people from this game, I'd pair him with Ariza. So, like, you could go Lillard and Ariza or Whiteside and Ariza. That's what I would do just because that price tag is so easy to hit. You're looking for upside with these price tags. Melo always looks disengaged. All right. I'm trying to avoid talking about San Antonio. Let's talk about Philly. Philly's interesting because the price tags are very cheap. Again, good GPP options. This is a slight pace of spot for Philly. So you're looking at people like Horford. I'm really just going to go through this list here. They're all good GPP options. Horford at 5.2 got the heavy price decrease. Harris is at 6.2, and Embiid is also at 9.1. Obviously in the prime matchup. Ben Simmons, 38 minutes. He's still playing that heavy load of minutes. Again, you just kind of have to take a dart throw at these guys. It's really tough to decide which one of these guys is going to perform, especially against Kawhi. Kawhi's going to probably be lined up against Simmons. It's probably their biggest threat. I mean, it's tough. It's tough to decide. Without Beverly, too, I mean, it's going to change up the picture a lot. I'm not going to recommend any one of these players for GPPs, but I'm going to recommend a lot of these guys have... Oh, Giannis is out tomorrow? Oh. Here we go, guys. You know what that means. Come back for the stream tomorrow. But yeah, I mean... If I had to pick one, I'd probably pick Al Horford just because of his minutes. 30 minutes, it's very intriguing. Obviously, a good matchup against the Clippers. Bigs aren't really that good. On the flip side, I know TJ really likes Paul George here. He likes Paul George because Paul George averages 1.4 fantasy points per minute. He hasn't been doing that well in the past couple games. Have been blowouts, so his price has gone down. And he hasn't been doing that well. So he thinks he has a lot of upside. So I'll speak on TJ's behalf here. Paul George is going to go under the radar, 13%. I still like some of these other players better, but I'm speaking for TJ here. Paul George could end up being a nice GPP option, and you want to talk about a nice pivot from Zach LaVine. There's one of them. What's Zach LaVine's price again? 8.2. Yeah. So I mean, Paul George 8K, and then Zach LaVine 8.2. So. All right, and now we're gonna move on to. I guess we can talk about San Antonio real quick. Actually, did we get an update on San Antonio? Did anybody see any San Antonio news? Let me know, guys. I guess we can go to OKC before we go to the Spurs. All right, so a couple players do stand out because a lot of these guys got some price decreases here. It's going to be a pace-up spot for OKC. I do like Steven Adams tonight. Steven Adams does pop a lot in 29 minutes. Okay, so he's projected at 29. If he does play that amount, I do like Steven Adams at 5.5. Fairly productive. 5.7 on our sheet. A great pivot for a lot of center options on the slate. There always is a lot of centers on the slate. Gallinari here, also underpriced. 5.8 on our sheet here. Okay. Hold on, guys. That's my dog. 1 second, he's going nuts. Let me just let me mute this real quick. Hold on. So I want to show you who's been barking. He didn't know how to get up the steps. This is the first time that he's been up the steps here. This is a interruption here. Gets to be on screen now. This is my new puppy. The little corgi. So don't interrupt the stream, buddy. Alright, stay quiet. Got a new puppy for my girlfriend's birthday 2 days ago. If they start getting loud, I'll have to interrupt the stream again. Alright. My mic's all messed up. Oh. Madness during the stream, madness. All right, I think we're good now. Sorry about that. All right, so yeah, I was talking about OKC. So a lot of these guys are on the price in OKC. Steven Adams, 5.7. Gallinari at 5.6. Chris Paul. The corgi is called Carl. That's his name, Carl. Chris Paul is also underpriced here. Again, all these guys are in pace-up spots. Again, it's a similar kind of picture with Philly, so we don't really know what we're looking at here. Any one of these guys could stand up. I know a lot of guys are in Alexander. Again, a nice pivot, playing that shooting guard position, 6.7. They all got price decreases in the pace-up spot against the Spurs on the back-to-back. So these guys I do like for GPP. I do like Steven Adams a lot. All right, so Steven Adams is going to be my favorite play here. Gallinari is also a good play. Again, a lot of these guys are GPP targets, though. They're showing high ownership here. The highest owned guy is going to be Gallinari. Again, I do like these guys for GPPs. And if I had to pick one for cash, I would pick Gallinari. All right, guys. I'm sorry. The dog's chewing on some wires. Let me just pause it real quick. I'll get him out. Hold on. Testing. All right. Oh, I'm sorry about that. All right, we're good now. Now I'm out of breath. All right, so OKC, we're good. Let's talk about San Antonio. Now everybody's been waiting for San Antonio. Again, did you guys get an update on San Antonio? I tell you, puppies are a mess. All right, so with San Antonio, let's take a look at this. Let's take a look at the popcorn machine real quick. I'm gonna need a Red Bull for this. So the Spurs rolled out the starting lineup of DeJounte Murray, Bryn Forbes, Lonnie Walker, Trey Miles, and LaMarcus Aldridge last game. What Roto is doing is they're basically saying that's going to be the starting lineup again, and that's going to go, or that's going to be the minutes that they're going to go with. So they're going to go with LaMarcus Aldridge projected at 35 minutes. I'm going to show you guys this. LaMarcus Aldridge played 35 minutes last game. If you guys can see right here. Patty Mills playing 22. Patty Mills around 17. Trey Lyles 26. 28. So what Roto is projecting now is they're projecting the minutes of what they played last game. So it's gonna be a very interesting picture tonight. It's really gonna depend on who's gonna get the starting minutes, because right now Roto's literally projecting the exact minutes that they got last game. So if we look here, the only guy that I'm really interested in, that I really like tonight, is LaMarcus Aldridge. Obviously, he's going to play the minutes. He's obviously going to be in the rotation. He's their best player. He averages 1.37 fantasy points per minute. So, with that being said, the other guys, I really don't know the rotations yet. Because if you look here, and I'll tell you why Lonnie Walker might end up being bad chalk here. Lonnie Walker started last game. He played the entire second quarter here, pretty much. Thank you for the subscription, Bernard. Thank you so much. Into the third quarter here, he played the entire third quarter. But when he was coming back in here, the fourth quarter, Popovich blew the whistle, called the timeout, and then took out Patty Mills and Lonnie Walker for the rest of the game. So what that shows me is that even though he played 27 minutes, he really was not dependent on Lonnie Walker and at the very end of the game. So if the Spurs do keep this close, and they kept it close versus Denver, if they keep it close, they're going to be playing people like Derek White here at the very end of the game. At least this is what I'm gathering from Popcorn Machine, okay? They're going to be playing people like Derek White, Bryn Forbes, okay? So Trey Lyles is also in there. Of course, this is based on matchup. I can't catch a break. They ran up the steps again. So I have it blocked off on the steps by laundry baskets, and they managed to get around it. So I apologize, guys. I'm going to have to mute this again and probably go lock the gate or something. But yeah, so this is what I've gathered from them. Bryn Forbes is going to be one of the players that's going to be guaranteed minutes. LaMarcus Aldridge is going to get guaranteed minutes. DeJounte Murray is going to get guaranteed minutes. Ben, thank you so much for the subscription. Trey Lyles is going to get guaranteed minutes. But as far as their guard play, you really don't know what's going to happen down the stretch here. Okay? Until we get those updated minutes. Of course, I'm going to be looking at the starting lineups, and then I'll determine from there. So hopefully we get the starting lineups. Guys, I am so sorry. I apologize. I'm going to go fix my gate again. So this will be the last time. Testing. Thank you, Ty Miller, for subscribing. Thank you. This is madness. This is what happens when TJ's not here to talk. All right, I just locked him in the room, so they shouldn't be coming back out. He's a puppy, so I'm sorry. All right. So back on track here. Sorry, guys. With the Spurs. So we're talking about the Spurs. Again, I don't really know what the rotation is going to look like. Obviously, with the last game, they weren't dependent on Lonnie Walker. They weren't dependent on Patty Mills. And what Roto's doing right now is projecting the Spurs based on last minute's games. So obviously, with Lonnie Walker getting 27 minutes last game, look at his projection. 27. So that's what scares me. Okay? That's the only thing that scares me. So until we get a better projection of the minutes, I don't really know what's going to go on with the Spurs. So that's really all I have to say about the Spurs. Again, the solid minutes, the minutes that are solidified with the Spurs are going to come from Aldridge. They're going to come from Trey Lyles. They're going to come from DeJounte Murray and Derek White. Those guys have a nice floor as far as their minutes go. Fade the dog, bad matchup. He was definitely overpriced. Definitely overpriced, especially right now. I can tell you that right now. He's not performing very well. All right, and I'm going to cover the last game here. So with Houston, we know that Covington's going to be chalk here. Covington's going to be chalk with 34 ownership here against Boston. James Harden is still without Capella, 38 minutes. He comes out to a 5.4 on our sheet here. So he's going to be a good GPP option. Macklemore is playing 27 minutes, 5.3. Of course, this is without Eric Gordon on the court. So I started Macklemore last night. 1% ownership is what he's showing at right now. That's going to be a solid GPP option. All right. So I'd like Covington for chalk. I like James Harden, and I like Macklemore for very low ownership. So again, this is going to be another game where you're going to be targeting for GPPs. Macklemore is another great GPP flyer tonight. So Russell Westbrook, I'm not going to say much about him. He's going to be more high owned, 26%. I'm going to prefer James Harden in this situation. All right, it's a bad matchup against Boston. It's going to be a pace down spot. That's the only thing. That's why they're going to carry such low ownership. I'm going to say this right now. Fade Boston. Please don't get high on Boston. Please don't. Everybody's overpriced. Jaylen Brown being the only one I could see just because he's in a good matchup, 6.6. But again, everybody's back for them. Gordon Hayward, 6.9. Jason Tatum, 8.4. Kemba Walker, 7.7. Simons for Portland out. Oh, he's available. Okay. Let me know right when that San Antonio lineup comes out. All right. So now you guys know my favorite part. I'm going to break down all of my favorite plays here. Building 150 lineups just to show you guys what my exposures are going to look like or decently close to them. So let's do that now. Go ahead and fire away any questions you have into the chat that aren't Corgi related, please. That aren't dog related. I do apologize, guys. That never happens. I'm the only person here right now in the house. TJ's without me. I would have told him to start talking about the slate to deal with that. I do apologize. I really do. I'm all about viewer experience. All right. So it's kind of funny. Do you remember when I said you can either match or fade Zach LaVine or go underweight on him? It's kind of funny. That's the way it shaped out in my exposures here. So LaMarcus Aldridge is showing as the best chalk play on the slate. Okay, LaMarcus Aldridge I'm going to probably be overweight on. Cash locks, yep. We're going to talk about that. LaMarcus Aldridge is my first cash lock. DeJounte Murray is going to be a cash lock if he starts, which he should. Trey Lyles, another really good play. I wouldn't consider him a cash lock. Zach LaVine's going to be a cash lock. Those are going to be my favorite plays on the slate for cash. Aldridge, DeJounte Murray, Zach LaVine. Okay, those are going to be my three guys I'm going to be playing. By the way, I do like Brandon Ingram if he does play. Okay? Cash locks: Aldridge, Murray, Zach LaVine. I'm going to give you a better picture once I get that San Antonio starting lineup, because again, a lot of my favorite plays will come out of the game. Davis Bertans is also a great play for cash. Great play. Also, if Lonnie Walker is starting again, Lonnie Walker is going to have to be a cash lock for me. You thought Kemba Walker was priced to count? What do you mean? What do you mean by that statement? Yeah, DeJounte Murray, Aldridge, and Zach LaVine are going to be my cash locks. GPP locks. I don't usually lock GPPs, but if Trey Lyles is coming in at 10% ownership, I really do like Trey Lyles and GPP. I also like Damian Lillard. Damian Lillard is going to fly under the radar tonight. 10.72%. Unreal. Again, it's a high-paced game against New Orleans. I do like Damian Lillard for GPPs. Derek White, of course, I have to say, pending the San Antonio starting lineup, a lot of these San Antonio Spurs are going to go overlooked. People like Derek White. Derek White can end up being a very nice play. Patty Mills, if he plays an upward mid-20 minutes, 25 to 28 minutes, a great play. A great play. Players you might want to consider fading. Robert Covington. He carries a lot of ownership. Bad matchup. Averages 0.93 fantasy points per minute. Against a bad matchup in Boston. Again, he had got that really good first game, and then he's kind of dropped off since. Could end up being a fade for you. I'm not really a big fan. Right, Kemba Walker's priced accordingly, which means that I'm not really high on him. Yep. Brandon Ingram, another good play. I'm going to keep going down here. I'm going to see if I miss a couple. Again, Trevor Ariza, I'm showing overweight on, another great GPP option. Yeah, Damian Lillard is only at 10% right now on DraftKings, which is unreal. So yeah, I pretty much covered the entire slate, guys. I feel like I was redoing the video there. This is what happens when I go without TJ. Yeah, I have to refresh here. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and start reading your questions. Feel free to go ahead and hammer any questions you have into the chat. I will answer them. You like Drew if no Brandon Ingram. Well, let's actually look at that. Let's see what happens to the Pelicans when you take Brandon Ingram off the court, because a lot does happen. The last time he was rolled out was Saturday, which I did not go live for. So let's take a look at it. Do they have any other injuries? Yeah, they have Darius Miller. They have Kenrich. And they have, let's say, Brandon Ingram off the court here. So let's take a look at it. So the biggest boost goes to Zion, and I said this before when I wasn't streaming on Saturday. I actually put this in the Discord. He gets 0.4 fantasy points per minute increase. Obviously, the focal point of that offense when Brandon Ingram is not on the court. So if you look here, he averages 1.65 fantasy points per minute. Again, it's an 80 minutes of a sample size, but we already know what the offense is going to look like. It's going to be generated around Zion. All right. Another guy that gets a boost here. All these guys get a usage boost slightly. JJ Redick, 0.11 fantasy points per minute increase. Derek Favors, 0.17 fantasy points. Everybody gets a slight increase here. So again, everybody's going to be a good play. Lonzo averaging 1.13 fantasy points per minute. Drew Holiday, 1.18. I'm not going to hate any one of these plays. Again, the usage goes around to everybody. JJ Redick averaging close to a fantasy point per minute. And then Derek Favors, 1.3 fantasy points per minute, which is insane. But again, he's been performing pretty badly as of late. So, but yeah, could end up being good for GPP's. Josh Hart, close to a fantasy point per minute. Kobe White. Yeah, we can talk about Kobe White. So Kobe White's projected at 26 minutes. He doesn't rate too well on the sheet, but again, coming in at 8%, I don't mind him. Again, all of these Bulls are in a pace-up spot, so I don't mind them in GPPs. If you want to take a stab at Kobe White, I don't mind it. Of course, I do like Hutchinson a lot more. I think he's just more of a productive player. 4.6 in 30 minutes. You can't argue with that. Hart or Bertans? I think they're in two different price ranges. Let me just double check that. Hart, 5 point. No, they're not. Oh, I like Bertans a lot more. I think Bertans has more upside. He's in a better matchup as well. Canner and GPP. The centers that played against Houston a couple games did. The centers that played against Houston in the last couple games did poorly. Are you saying that you shouldn't play Canner and GPPs then? Yeah, so Tice is back. It's Tice and Canner. So Canner's only at 18 minutes, so I don't like Canner tonight. I don't like anybody that low for minutes, usually. Oh, do I like Drew with Ingram? No, I'm not very high on Portland, or I'm not very high on Drew Holiday with him back. He's in a good matchup, but again, there's a lot of different guys I like more. He's at a 7.9. The average is 1.03 fantasy points per minute, which is actually not that good for a guy of that price tag. I like even Lonzo Ball better. I like Derek Favors. I like pretty much every other starter on that roster more. Again, Drew Holiday's going to carry the lowest ownership, so if you want to take a stab at him, by all means. But I mean, very, very poorly with Brandon Ingram. I mean, let's look at this. 42 fantasy points, 23, 22, 24 with Brandon Ingram. That's not good at all, okay? 61 was without Brandon Ingram. So we'll disclude that game. Whiteside. Let's talk about Whiteside. Yeah, I told you I do like Whiteside tonight. Whiteside 8.1 is coming slightly underpriced here, but 27% should carry a decent amount of ownership for good reason. I do like Whiteside tonight. Whiteside has a lot of upside. Mo Wagner, GPPs, I touched base on it a little bit earlier. Again, I don't like the minutes from him. I like Bertans a lot more. For GPPs, if you want to take a stab at him, I like Troy Brown in that matchup, 4.3. Wagner 4.3 as well, but he's not as productive. 1% ownership. He's going to be a decent GPP option just because he has to grab rebounds down low, but again, just not that productive of a player. He's going to have to do well with the minutes given. He played 24 minutes last game. He did fairly well. Again, it was a pace-up spot. This is going to be an average spot for Washington. Adams or Tice? I like Adams a lot more. GPP lineup: Lillard, Levine, Hutchinson, Aldridge, Zion, Patty Mills, Ariza, and Bertans. I really like that lineup. Stud of the night. Who's going to do the best fantasy point-wise? James Harden. He usually does. He usually does the best. Damian Lillard not too far behind there. Beal or Levine? I'm going to go... Ooh, that's tough. I'm going to say Beal for GPP, Levine for cash. Levine's going to carry the highest ownership. Center for cash. Let's look at it. Who's going to be my favorite option at center for cash? Oh, LaMarcus Aldridge. If you're looking for another option, I'm going to say Trey Lyles if he starts. It's going to be a very good cash option. They're very confused on what he's going to look like tonight because they're projecting him at 27 minutes. However, I don't believe that yet. I need to see him in the starting lineup. Again, it's going to be heavily dependent on what the Spurs starting lineup looks like. That's what's going to dictate where I'm going to go tonight. Again, I do like... Oh, I need to go to my last builds here. It looks relatively the same. Yeah, so Trey Lyles is a good option, another good center option. Top 4 for cash: Aldridge, DeJounte Murray, Lyles if he starts, Levine. Levine is another good. Those guys are going to carry a high ownership. Aldridge, DeJounte Murray, Levine, and Lonnie Walker if he starts too. He's going to carry a lot of ownership. A lot of questions, but I like a lot of questions. SGA. SGA is just going to be tagged as a GPP play. Again, OKC looks very confusing. They have a lot of good players on that roster. Steven Adams, I like the best from that roster. Gallinari, I like. Chris Paul and Alexander, I also like. But I like Gallinari the best. Gallinari draws the best matchup, and he's underpriced. 24% ownership is what he's showing out here. Gallinari or Brown? Which Brown? You mean Jaylen Brown? I'm going to say Gallinari's better. Starting DeJounte Murray or Adams, I'm going to say DeJounte Murray. Embiid and GPP. Yeah, all the Philly guys are good GPP options. Again, if you want to take a stab at one of these guys, yes. Embiid draws a really good matchup against the bad bigs and the Clippers. And they're going to try to keep it competitive. Korkmaz's thoughts? No, everybody's back for them. I don't like him tonight. He's been on the tear lately. I get it, but only projected at 24 minutes. You can't go off recency bias. Again, he played 28, 28, 31. He's only projected at 24. If he doesn't get hot very early, then he's going to be not a good GPP option. All right, I like the questions, guys. Keep them coming. Gallinari and SGA together, because they're so underpriced, I'll say yeah, but they're both going to have to go off for that to make sense. For cash or GPP, for cash that's more viable. For GPP, I wouldn't advise for it. I don't think Korkmaz will continue his tear. No, I don't. And if he does, guess who they're going to throw on him? The best defensive player in the league. Westbrook or Lillard? Lillard. I like Lillard tonight. Lillard, like I said, I like him for GPPs just because he's going to go low owned. Yeah, Westbrook I'm not as high on. I'm more high on James Harden. I don't like Westbrook for his ownership. Again, it's a pace down spot for Boston. And for my Patreon, guys, the exposures are updated right now until I hear that San Antonio news. Hopefully we get it in the next 15 minutes. Again, if you guys haven't already followed us on social media, please subscribe to our channel. Please follow us on Twitter. And if you are completely lost, follow us on Patreon. I give my favorite plays in there all day, every day, and my stances on the slate. So I will update once I hear the Spurs rotations. Once I hear their starting lineups, I will update on my social media who I like the best from that roster as soon as I get more minute updates and rotations. Whiteside. Yes, I spoke to Whiteside. Lou Will, Simmons, Aldridge, question mark. Are you asking which one I like the best? Because I'm not high on Lou Will tonight. Simmons is a GPP option, a viable one, and Aldridge I love tonight. Can you show us the Boston ownership? Sure. I can show you Boston. It's very low. 2%, 5%, 6%, 3%, 6%. It's going to be a pace up spot. I think it's the only thing that they have going for them. But again, all these price tags are pretty crazy. As you guys know, when these guys have all of their injuries back, Tatum's around mid-7, low 7K. Kemba Walker around that same price. Gordon Hayward's closer to 6K. Jaylen Brown closer to 6K. So, I mean, they're inflated about $500 to $1,000 each player. Favorite pay-up option for cash? For cash, I will say Lillard's going to be my favorite pay-up option. I think Lillard's a safe bet. Yeah, I'll say that with confidence. Aldridge on back-to-backs doesn't play well. Well, they will need him tonight. And again, that just makes Trey Lyles even more of a better play. And if you're going to fade Aldridge, just don't do it in cash. Just if you want to take a stance on that, do it more in GPPs. Lillard, Beal, Ariza, Lyles, Aldridge, Walker. Lonnie Walker, I'm assuming. Paul, Gallinari. If that's a cash lineup, I mean, that's not bad. I like that lineup. What's a good Covington pivot? Like straight up? Let's talk about it. Covington. That's what stinks about this Rangers. Not too much. So DeJounte Murray is going to be the best pivot. But again, that's only in the util spot. Thaddeus Young's a great play, and Bertans. I like, if you're going to have to pay up a little bit for him, Bertans and Thaddeus Young I do like better than Covington. They're in better spots. They're in pace-up spots. I'm not that high on Covington tonight. I think he's a safe bet. It's just a low over-under. It's a pace-down spot for them. And again, it's just like, it's not, Covington's, as we know, Covington's just historically not an amazing player. He's just not that good. And if he's playing a bigger role in Boston, he's not going to be able to compete with these guys. They have a lot of size. They have a lot of size just in their wing players, and they just have more size in general. I know Tice isn't that great, but I mean, look, they show up second best in the league against the type of player Covington is. Again, guys, I'm not really high on Boston. I'm just not. Boston, I mean, if you're going to take a stab at one of these guys, feel free in GPPs, but not for cash. Any OKC guys in cash, yeah, they're going to carry decent ownership. If you want to take a stab at Gallinari, I like Steven Adams too. Again, these guys are carrying decent ownership. Chris Paul, they're all carrying decent ownership. So if you want to fill your players or fill your lineups with some of these OKC guys, I see that being a viable option. Thoughts on Tobias Harris? Just a GPP option. His price tag is a little low. I expect it to be somewhat competitive. So Tobias Harris at 6.2. Yeah, 6.2. 34 minutes, not a bad play. Again, if you want to fill him there, that's not bad. Tyson tonight is about as good as the Jets the last 10 years. Okay. I guess you can compare those two. Carmelo Anthony chalk. I don't believe he's chalk. Let me just look here. At 20% ownership, that's not bad. He's not chalk. Chalk is Aldridge. Aldridge is chalk. Boston. Guys, I'm telling you right now, Boston's just, I mean, you can probably get away with playing one of these guys and get lucky, but again, they're just not, their price tags are very, look, 4.9 is the highest value on this team. Top fade is Covington. Who's the highest scoring power forward and center on the slate? Per my projections, let's look. Joel Embiid and LaMarcus Aldridge. LaMarcus Aldridge averages 1.37 fantasy points per minute. He's going to be heavily involved in the offense. He's going to have to play. Oh, that's funny. Yeah, I didn't even realize his name. My poor Jets. Thoughts on Lonnie Walker? Fourth tonight. What do you mean fourth? Just like as a fourth play? Lonnie Walker, if he starts, I do like Lonnie Walker. I'm scared about his minutes. You'll have to play him in cash, but GPP, I'm very hesitant to play somebody like Lonnie Walker. There's a lot of options on just the Spurs in general. Like Patty Mills could easily outscore him. Derek White could outscore him. Rudy Gay could be a very sneaky play if he gets minutes. See, that's why I'm waiting for these starting minutes. Again, Popovich is going to be very, very... it's going to be an interesting way he's going to play this team. Again, it's a back-to-back, so I suspect people like Rudy Gay will get an extra run. Like I said earlier, Lonnie Walker then played the end of the last game. Trey Lyles, he got into the starting lineup. They're projecting around 27 minutes. There's a lot of question marks with the San Antonio Spurs tonight. But again, like the only safe bets I'm really looking at here is Aldridge and Murray. Those are the guaranteed minutes. Those are the guys that are going to get guaranteed minutes. Harden and Steven Adams, or pay up for center and go cheaper at shooting guard. Depends on what contest you're talking about. Murray, this is from Grant. Murray, Levine, Covington, Bertans, Aldridge, Lillard, Walker, Lonnie Walker, I'm assuming. Gallinari for cash. I like that. Grant. Covington, again, I only like him because of his ownership, but besides that. The best up-to-date lineups are right here. This is Roto Wire, not Roto Grinders. A lot of Roto here in DFS. Brandon Ingram, a game-time decision. Wow. That's confusing. What time do they start? They start at 8, right? Yeah, they start at 8. Man. Do you post on the site before lock? I just signed up today for it. Yeah, we post our cash lineup on the site for it. All right, guys. So I'm going to get off because I have to make the cash lineup here. I'll say this. Stay tuned. If you haven't gotten the Discord chat, I posted the Discord link in our morning video, the updated Discord link in the comment section. I pinned the post. If you guys want to join that, feel free. And I'll also tweet my updates. Okay, so follow us on Twitter. Follow us on Discord. I'm going to get updates out for you guys based on the Pelicans injuries. Hopefully, if Brandon Ingram's ruled out, that means a lot will change on the slate. And the Spurs, once I get a better idea of the rotations, I'm going to take a look at Popcorn Machine, kind of analyze a little bit further, and I'll give you guys an update on the Spurs. Okay? Those are the only two things that we're waiting for. As of right now, your locks for cash, and I wouldn't change these regardless of what news we get. LaMarcus Aldridge, DeJounte Murray, Zach LaVine. Okay? Again, the rest of these guys could change just based on that late breaking news. Like I'm going to go heavy on the Pelicans if Brandon Ingram's rolled out. A lot of usage to go around. Yeah, and Ingram should sit. I mean, he sat last game. So again, 122 is just a very, very high over-under for them. So avoid exposure to the early games so you can pivot, especially GPP players, okay? Especially GPP players. Hopefully we get this news after I get off stream. Hopefully we get this news after the lock so we get an edge, especially for you FanDuel guys, okay? If you guys want to play some Pelican guys in there, like Zion in there, it might benefit you for some FanDuel guys. All right? So I'm going to go ahead and get off now. I have to make the cash lineup. But guys, thanks for tuning in. Again, appreciate the support so much. If you haven't already, hit that subscription button. Hit that notification bell. I have to go make the lineup. I'm going to post it to the website. And, of course, make my GPP lineups. And, again, I will keep you guys posted in the Discord chat and on Twitter. All right? With all that being said, guys, have a great Tuesday, and let's cash.